So good evening, everyone. I'm David Rubin and Colleen Pongratz tonight. First, I'm going to start off by presenting David Rubin's HIB annual report. In this cycle, there were 45 reports made during September to December, but of those 45 reports, 12 were confirmed HIBs. In the thicker packet that's stapled, that data is disaggregated for you by school. Um, the difference between this cycle in the 2017 school year versus the 2016 school year is that there was an increase of 2 confirmed reports. But we also had a lot more reports submitted this year at the elementary level, which we worked to address, and that issue has been resolved. But that's really the reason why there was 2 additional reports. But we do have some really great news to share about HIB, and also in our schools. We have increased by 67% our trainings. You know, we talk a lot about the climate and the culture changing in the schools. When I was reviewing the data, it was quite a big difference in this period, which is a demonstration that the schools are really utilizing the toolbox, utilizing suggestions. Dr. Brooks' suggestions for the islands of competency, all of those things are making great differences in the school, so I'm proud to report that. Something else I wanted to report for HIBs was that our grades came in. Every year the schools do a self-assessment. Last school year, or the last cycle for 2016, we were at a 75 out of 78, and this year we went up 1 point as a district to 76. So we're at a 97% success rate. So that's really good. We're very proud of that. Does anyone have any questions about this particular cycle or report? No? Okay, great. We're going to move on to... Sure.
I know that while the number of incidents in which HIV was found, or the claim was substantiated, that number is relatively comparable year over year. Would you attribute the increase in reported to a greater awareness of the issue in general, perhaps?
I would. I think this particular cycle, we had some new people in place, and so there was a lot of reports and guidance given on how to review those reports, and that's been really successful. But between last cycle, it was 30 reports, and it's 45 this time, so it wasn't a really large increase, but out of those 15 reports, 2 more confirmed HIBs came through. But 12 reports, you know, over our large district that are confirmed is relatively low. And I do really think that all of the trainings and programs that are being put into place in the schools are actually taking effect. So we're really proud of that. You know, Mr. Johnson made a comment earlier. You know, he was really proud of some of the things that Randallville School did. A lot of our schools are taking those approaches, and we are seeing some great gains.
Dr. Teef has something coming.
Sure.
Yeah, I have one question on this one for comments. You are doing a lot of good things, something good, substance abuse from 16 to 6.
Are you referring to the EVVRS report?
She hasn't talked.
Okay.
No, I want to keep doing. And there is something in violence.
Yes.
It's
I'm going to go to that report next.
okay.
Yep. So there was an increase. Should I move to the next report? I just want to make sure everyone's okay with this report. Okay. So I actually failed to give myself a copy of the EVVRS report. Thanks. Thank you. Sorry about that. And you're right, Mr. Azir. There is an increase in total reports for this cycle. There's 37. There's an increase of 5. The substance abuse, as you mentioned, had a great decrease. We're very proud of that. And I do think it's because there's a small group structure that was put in place, and I think the peer-to-peer relationships in those groups is really helping the students be successful in limiting our drug offenses. But you are correct, in the area of violence, there has been an increase. A lot of those, when I reviewed it, are students in K-8. There's about 10 reports, and in the high school there's 8. In the K-8 schools, oftentimes it's uh, students having conflicts and those conflicts resulting in fighting. And when I reviewed the high school, it's mostly ninth and 10th graders, and it's very similar. And I do think what I said earlier about the approaches for HIB, for culture and climate, what is being put into place and what we're seeing, we're going to start to see take effect in time. And I think that will truly address some of the issues in the violence category. Also, we are really grateful to the Board of Education for aligning some funding to help us add some additional supports to the kids who are kind of not demonstrating extreme need at the time, but could use a little support so they don't get to an extreme place. So we are very grateful for that and looking forward to those positions supporting our kids.
And what you can do for the prevention, the violence can be reduced, or
Well, some of the things that we have in place already, there's some peer mentoring opportunities, the students just being participants in different social clubs and just belonging to things will give them that kind of support. The Dr. Brooks initiative that the principals are sharing with the schools are really helping the schools right away identify what great strengths the students have, and the teachers are drawing upon that in their classroom and really focusing on the students' strengths versus focusing on areas that they need support. And I think what the teachers are doing is becoming intrinsic in our students and making a great change. That, along with some of the things that the counselors are doing and some of the positive behavioral support programs that are in place. I do know that the principal in Eisenhower is making a change to her PBSIS program that's going to, kind of reinvigorate the kids. So all the principals are looking to do things to give the kids more encouragement through the years to reduce these events. Addie?
Did something happen at Gribbletown to kind of skew them? Because I noticed compared to the other two middle schools, they were kind of closer behind the high school in both
The
these.
events that occurred in those schools, in this particular cycle, it seemed to be a lot of students kind of getting into horseplay or exchange of words that rose into physical fights, either on school or off school grounds. And, we're seeing that same trend in all the grade levels. It's kind of what is happening, and a lot of the students in these reports are students we are giving a lot of supports to who still continuously require those supports.
Can you speak to the change in reporting? Now, are administrators now able to actually alleviate the timetable? Like they can dismiss a few of these claims now?
Are you talking about HIB?
Yes.
Yes and no. The legislation's been passed, but it has to go into policy.
Okay.
So I know in time that will probably happen. All right.
Just on the violence category, I know that certainly when I was going to school, and probably speak for a lot of the members on the board, that four violent incidents in a cycle in a district as large as ours would be almost inconceivable. That fights on school grounds were more of a daily occurrence, frankly, as a rough and tumble time than the exception. So. That number was extraordinary, but that said, the climb in it is somewhat concerning because we would rather see the number going towards zero than going higher. So I think anything that the board can do to provide resources for education that helps students learn to manage situations, to de-escalate. There's no real particular need for peer conflicts to result in violence. If students learn the skills necessary to de-escalate the situation, and seeing as how we are in the education business, that seems like a good area of focus for teaching.
Absolutely, we do appreciate that. And I did fail to mention, we do work very closely with our SROs, and some of these incidents do come from out of school into school and vice versa. So we're all working together to reduce some of the infractions. So.
Speaking to that point, I like the fact that you mentioned the additional support for the mental health, interventions, coping strategies. But you mentioned the SROs, and it's something we talked about at graduation. We also looking into restorative justice. That was a topic that we discussed. Is that something that we're looking into with some of the more high at-risk students?
Mhm.
Can you kind of speak to some of that? Because some people may not know what like restorative justice is, or
Do you want to speak to that, Teresa?
right? I wanted to pinpoint that we're doing those teachable moment things, that we're looking at other ways than just discipline, that we're really trying to resolve issues as opposed to just letting them manifest and linger and then allowing them to take actions to their own hands. So,
Yeah. Reflective time.
right. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much. And I just wanted to say Monday's my 1-year anniversary, so I'd like to thank you all. Teresa, thank you so much. David, Kathy, and Deirdre, who's not here. I appreciate everything you all have done.
We're very pleased with your work, Colleen.
Okay. Next, we have after the superintendent's report, personnel and labor relations.
Be it resolved that the following motions identified as items A through G be approved as presented.
Second.
No,
I'm
he's got to
sorry.
vote.
I'm sorry.
No discussion now, then roll.
All right, any discussion?
We don't,
Not for
not on
personnel.
personnel.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right,
Is that right?
all right, roll call. please.
All right.
Thank you.
Ms. Cherry,
Yes.
Dr. Connors,
Yes.
Mrs. Deepan,
Yes.
Mr. Irwin,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Dr. Nazir,
Yes.
Dr. Peng,
Yes.
Mr. Stern.
Yes.
Motion's passed.
Mr. Vice President, I just want to make mention at Barber School. So welcome on board. I think that the community should be pleased with the appointment of Baldestano. Came to our district special education programs. He is a he taught almost every grade level. In building consensus and parents in good listener and decision maker. So
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, approval of minutes.
Be it resolved, the following minute be approved as submitted. Business meeting June 14, 2018. Executive session meeting June 14, 2018.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Public comments from the floor. The Board of Education recognizes the value period of public comment at every board meeting. Individuals wishing to speak must state their name and address. Comments are limited to 3 minutes in duration, but an individual may speak as second time after all others who wish to speak on a topic that's in turn. The board may require that individuals register to speak prior to the beginning of the meeting. Participants may submit written material in support of their position. All statements and/or questions must be directed to the presiding officer, and no participant may address or question board members individually. All speakers are requested to express themselves in a civil manner, with due respect for the dignity and privacy rights of others whose legal rights may be affected. Please note, while it is not the board's intention to stifle comment on matters of legitimate concern to the school community, the public should be aware that if their statements violate the rights of others under the law governing defamation or invasion of privacy, they may face personal liability to the injured party. If speakers are uncertain of the legal ramifications of their comments, the board urges them to seek guidance beforehand from their own legal advisor. Is anybody wishing to speak? Seeing none, may I have a motion to close?
So moved. Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Fiscal planning and operations. Tom?
Be it resolved, the following motions identified as items A through I be approved as presented.
Second.
Any comment or discussion?
I'd just like to share a comment related to item E, which is our insurance renewal. A component of our insurance policy every year is our workers' compensation policy, and in coming up with our rate, we have an individualized modification factor. And our modification, I noted this year it dropped once again, and it was quite low, but I didn't know the exact how low it was. So I asked our broker for a little information, and our mod factor dropped below 0.5. So I asked the broker to kind of compare us, and I just wanted to share a little feedback he gave us. This is among one of the lowest mod rates in the state. In fact, according to the New Jersey Schools Insurance Group, who provide workers' compensation coverage to hundreds of school districts, there's only 5 districts with a mod rate below 0.5, and Piscataway is one of those districts. The mod rate is not a one-year formula, but rather it spans 4 years, and therefore this rate is indicative of a very well-run district with a safe work environment. So I just wanted to note, we have a very active program in terms of returning employees on light duty and stuff, and it's, this is one of those areas where it's reflected in our mod rate, which translates to reduced premiums for our insurance.
Very good, thank you. That's great. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, can I have a motion to, it's been moved and seconded? All right, the vote, roll call, please.
Okay, Dr. Connors?
Yes to all, except I abstain on item E.
Mrs. Deepan?
Yes.
Mr. Irwin?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. Nazir?
Yes.
Dr. Peng?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Mr. Stern?
Yes.
Mrs. Lopez? Motion's carried.
Okay, we have no policy tonight. Okay, going on to curriculum.
Be it resolved that the following motions identified as items A through D be approved as presented.
Second.
Any discussion on curriculum? Just had that excellent presentation in a positive direction. Anybody else? Okay.
Mr. Irwin?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. Nazir?
Yes.
Dr. Peng?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Mrs. Deepan?
Yes.
Mr. Stern?
Yes.
Mrs. Lopez? Motion's carried.
Thank you. Pupil services.
Be it resolved that the following motions identified as items A through E be approved as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. Nazir?
Yes.
Dr. Peng?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Mrs. Deepan?
Yes.
Mr. Irwin?
Yes.
Mr. Stern?
Yes.
Mrs. Lopez? Motion's carried.
Thank you. Administrative and
Be it resolved that the following motions identified as items A through E be approved as presented.
Second. Okay, any discussion on administrative and auxiliary?
you mind if I just say something real quick
Not at all.
before? Just on item B, I'd like to thank the Grandview PTO for the donation to assist in purchasing the smart board technology for Grandview School. Thank you to the PTO.
$9,000.
Very good.
9,000.
Mr. Irwin?
Yes, I'd just like to draw the board's attention to item C. As the board is no doubt aware, June is Pride Month, during which the achievements in history and struggle for equal rights under the law of our LGBTQ+ community are recognized and celebrated at events throughout the state and nation. One particularly interesting logo event, I don't know if other folks saw the painting of crosswalks in a rainbow in Maplewood, but that was a particularly powerful visual statement that Maplewood undertook. So I'd say it's been the practice of this board and district to be supportive of our LGBTQ+ community, students and families, consistent with our belief that every child deserves a public education in a supportive and safe and secure environment. And so tonight, Mr. President, if I may, I'd like to read into the record a resolution recognizing and supporting Pride Month that I hope the board will support this evening. Please do. Whereas the Piscataway Township Board of Education strives to model and promote inclusive and respectful treatment of all members of our school community, and whereas the Piscataway Township Board of Education believes that every young person and member of our school community has the right to be whoever they are and live without fear of harassment, bullying, or other forms of intimidation, and whereas the Piscataway Township Board of Education believes it is our responsibility to ensure that schools in our diverse community are safe and supportive of LGBTQ+ students, families, and staff, and whereas the Piscataway Township Board of Education has supported LGBTQ+ students by affirming the rights of all students, most recently particularly for transgender students at a time when the federal government has moved to limit and deny these rights, and whereas the Piscataway Township Board of Education is proud to support the gay student alliances in our middle schools and at the high school, and to support LGBTQ+ youth and allies to discuss issues such as gender identity and expression, healthy relationships, bullying, and other topics under the guidance of supportive staff members. And whereas the month of June is an opportunity to celebrate contributions of the LGBTQ+ community locally, nationally, and abroad, also known as Pride Month. And whereas the celebration of Pride Month is rooted in a history of struggle for acceptance and equality, promised by the Declaration of Independence and in the U.S. Constitution, and affirmed in numerous legislative initiatives and legal opinions. And whereas that struggle for equal rights under the law and in everyday life continues even while under threat. And whereas by recognizing Pride Month, we affirm that the Piscataway Township Board of Education honors the ongoing struggle for equality. And whereas by recognizing Pride Month, we reiterate that our district supports policies, practices, and curriculum that honor and respect LGBTQ+ students, staff, and families. And whereas by recognizing Pride Month, we reaffirm our commitment to a school culture that promotes a safe, inclusive, and an understanding learning and work environment. Now therefore be it resolved that the Piscataway Township Board of Education honors June 2018 as Pride Month, and be it further resolved that the board directs the superintendent and all district staff to support lessons and activities that engage students in meaningful learning about the accomplishments of the LGBTQ+ community and the experiences of our LGBTQ+ students, staff, and families over the course of the coming school year. And be it further resolved that the board encourages the district staff to collaborate and work with GSA clubs and other supporters to show our pride in our LGBTQ+ community at opportunities throughout the coming year.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
likewise, I'd like to make a few comments about item D. We as board members are charged with overseeing the education, but more importantly, the overall well-being of the children of our community. I find it impossible to turn a blind eye where children elsewhere in our country are systematically abused by being separated from their parents. So I'd like to ask my colleagues on the board to support the resolution in item D, which I would like to read into the record. Resolution against the inhumane practice of separating children from their parents at the U.S.-Mexico border and the Piscataway dedication to keeping families together at all times. Whereas the Piscataway Township Board of Education embraces our diverse community and celebrate the rich cultures that are brought to our town by peoples of all nationalities. And whereas the Piscataway Township Board of Education continues to embrace its inclusive environment and works toward works to foster a safe environment for all people. And whereas the Piscataway Township Board of Education firmly and outwardly supports keeping families together in all immigration situations, and whereas the Piscataway Township Board of Education condemns practices that separate children from their families in any case, particularly in a time of need, and whereas the Piscataway Township Board of Education believes it is our responsibility to advocate for human rights and to help protect all people from injustices and the misguided practices involved in immigration and other regulations. And whereas the Piscataway Township Board of Education affirms through resolution its commitment to the education of all children on January 26, 2017, stating equal opportunity for all school-age children residing in Piscataway to enjoy all opportunities and benefits available in our schools regardless of immigration status. And whereas the Piscataway Township Board of Education acknowledges through this resolution the struggle of good-willed people and morally opposes separating families and detaining of children in any type of holding shelter. Now, therefore be it resolved, that we, the Piscataway Township Board of Education, oppose the separation of families and the detention of children in immigration and any other matters. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to the Commissioner of Education, Dr. Lamont Rapollet, President Donald Trump, Senator, U.S. Senator Robert Menendez, U.S. Senator Cory Booker, U.S. Representative Frank Pallone, Governor Phil Murphy, State Senator Robert Smith, Assembly Representative Joseph Egan, and Assembly Representative Joseph Danielson.
Thank you. Anybody have any comment? I'm proud to be part of a board that takes these matters seriously. For the Pride Month, as well as this one, against the horrible, horrible situation today that happened in the first place, and hopefully all those their parents will be reunited as soon as humanly possible. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to add in that resolution, we can send a copy to the mayor and county president too.
I think that's a good idea. Why not? Anybody have any?
And perhaps the resolution in item C can get an added distribution list.
Right, good.
I am proud to support both resolutions that were just read. I think in light of what we've heard in the past couple of days, the potential shift in the justice system in this country, that there's a possibility that can impact the lives of many people. And also the case that was just approved by the Supreme Court about the immigration ban. I think it's important for communities like ours that are very diverse to speak up and support these matters, and to show that we will not tolerate any of these type of policies that the current administration has. So I'm proud to support both of these resolutions.
I would also like to add my full support for both of these resolutions, and I'm very proud of the Piscataway Township Board of Education for following through on its affirmation through a recent resolution of the commitment to education of all children, the one that we put forth on January 26, 2017, stating equal opportunity for all school-age children residing in Piscataway to enjoy all opportunities and benefits available in our schools, regardless of immigration status. I fully support both of these.
Anybody else?
I have another, I just want to know, item B. How many smart board we are looking for 9,000? We don't know, or?
Interactive projectors
Yeah,
with the
how many?
whiteboards, that would get us 2.
Remember, they've already purchased some already. the
Yeah,
last 2
Grandview
years.
School does have
Yes.
already
They've
interactive.
made quite a few purchases.
Okay. All right. If there's no other discussion, we'll vote on this. And the 2 resolutions will be as amended as the board suggested, amendment suggested.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, should we take a roll call?
Yep. Dr. Dr. Nazir,
Yes.
Dr. Peng,
Yes.
Ms. Cherry,
Yes.
Dr. Connors,
Yes.
Mrs. Depan,
Yes.
Mr. Irwin,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Stern.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna, is that, I did not give a fiscal plannings and operations committee report last meeting because the meeting had happened the evening before. But I just reminded everyone that I did send out a report the day of the meeting. So if you could go back and look at that, and if you have any questions, because as of right now, with July and August, and David, you can confirm this, is that we do not have enough business that we're going to have a July or August meeting at this particular juncture. So the next meeting will not be until September 6th. So if you read that report and have any questions, please get a hold of me. Okay?
Are we on new business?
No, yes.
Okay, just to inform the board, we have an ad hoc Piscataway Reads meeting, July 9th at 6:30, if people are interested and want to come by and participate.
Anything else on new business?
Yeah, I just want to thank Ms. Rafferty and the administration. Each year, I'm wild about how we care for the children and giving the children a voice. I had the liberty to sit with Dr. Copeland last week, and they talked about inclusion and videos and how we embrace our children to give them a voice. We talked about a This Is America video that was well-renowned in a matter of days, and how we would bring that into the students, how it would affect, and how they would see things in diversity and speak to differences. And how we've always been a voice for the children, and now passing a resolution to show them that, we take the forefront. I mean, I think we've also, I don't want to speak too firmly, but I believe the township also did a resolution in terms of separating children as well. And you always being at the forefront. It's been a difficult year this year, many challenges, school safety, and I'm proud to raise my children here to say that, it's inclusive, not tolerated, but inclusive. And kudos to you for everything you've had to go through and endure this year, and you have our full support on anything.
Thank you, but the leadership of the board is not shirking out. Teachers. Important issues, and they're the ones taking care of children.
Yeah, we did have one very significant event take place since the last meeting, so I just wanted to congratulate all of our Piscataway High School graduates. Another great graduation ceremony, really well put together, so thank you to everyone who made that ceremony possible. We wish our students the best as they pursue college and careers, and to our staff and administration, congratulations on successfully wrapping up another school year. We hope you enjoy the summer, although I know that so many of our staff are working with us during the summer.